Welcome, members. My name is Kaliff Brown, and this is Miss Rosa Johnson. And I am absolutely honored today to do our third part of our artist overview series for Minorcan History Month. Miss Johnson, how are we today? How are we today?
Oh, very good.
Good. Well, Miss Johnson has opened up her home, and a beautiful home, might I add, and to do this interview series. And I'm once again absolutely honored. Miss Johnson, let's go ahead and get started. Covering your artwork today. What's your background, and what inspires you as an artist?
My background, I took art lessons. Okay, I mean about my art, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because in Spain, when you go to school, it's always an art lesson. Even you start when you are little, and it's a time there. Then you teach the kids how to draw and stuff. And I went to school, and I got enthusiastic about drawing and stuff, and I got some. It's in my family, I think, and we got some facility in doing that, and it was easy for me to. So I seriously, I didn't took art classes. I took art classes when I was studying, and then when I studied to be a teacher, 3 years. I was in Palma, in Mallorca was the college for that. And that was, art was part of like math, like grammar, like anything. You had to have art to be a teacher, let's put it this way. So, but before I even start any of those, I used to make little dolls and little things. It has been a thing that has been, in me since I was a little kid.
And so you are, you're from Minorca.
Yes.
And you can trace your lineage back. I mean, of course, yes, of course.
Long. Sintes is a very Minorcan name. It's very few in here or none. But in Minorca is a very, very old name. And you can trace that, since the I don't know since when, since the Minorcan one.
Sure. So for our members, as well as anyone that's viewing this video, Miss Johnson is actually from the island of Minorca, and she has a very unique outlook on Minorcan culture as a whole, just simply, and in this perspective as well. And so it's an absolute fascinating outlook as well. So when you talk about your early education, you're discussing that that indicates that from the island of Minorca, correct?
Yeah.
So your whole inspiration as an artist really began in early childhood at the island of Minorca.
Definitely.
That's fascinating. And I would love to know a little bit further about your teaching experience, because you did, before I arrived, show me a book that you were highlighted in. So could you go in a little bit of detail about your teaching experience?
Well, I can say that at the beginning it was not my call, but I got the degree. I went to college and I got the degree of being a teacher, and I was thinking that I will be that because the pay was good and everything. But was teaching. You had to be a teacher. I'm going to be frank here. I'm not going to say, oh, that was wonderful. Sure. It was wonderful kids that you sort of love and you become sort of attached. And it was a couple of 3 of those in my school, in my classes. But it was overwhelming for me. I just could not. Maybe it's because I'm a little controlling. And, and I didn't know like that. I would say, hey, you sit down and do this, and they will look at me and you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I did not. That my experience is, and I really was not meant to be a teacher.
Sure.
And I discovered that, and that too. I got good pay. I had the school that they gave me was for life because it was a rural school, and those and you got it for life, so you didn't have to move out of Menorca or do anything like that to find a school. Sometimes it's difficult for teachers to find a school. There's a lot of teachers in Menorca. And so I was very secure about the job.
Sure.
But I knew that was not for me.
Well, at least you're honest about it.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
definitely.
So I did the best I could, and I was nice to the kids, and I was, the rural ones, I was very nice. They were excellent kids, I didn't have no complaints. And but when the school season came off, I went to the director of that. I went all the way to Palma, to Mallorca, to talk to him because I was sort of embarrassed. They need to open that school earlier. So for me, really, because and I needed one, and that had to be done anyway. And I explained to him that. Then I just thought, and he just looked at me, hugged me, and said, well, I'm glad that he's an honest teacher. And he asked me, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm going to go. I got French, I knew French and English. And I said, I want to polish those two languages by going to the country and spending a year in each one.
Sure.
And then I'm going to go to Madrid. I love Madrid. I have been a few times in Madrid, and I love Madrid. And my sister lived there, and was nobody in Medcaral left of my family. So I was going to be living alone in a huge house that I did have. And I said, I'm going to go to Madrid and find a job. What I wanted to do was to be a telephone operator in the main office, in the center of the whole Spain. And for that, you needed those two languages. Well, So that was my intention. So I went there, and then I went to Belgium, and I spent a year with a wonderful family. I mean, really top family. The Count Carton de Villar was a count, ambassador special of the king. And he had 3 kids. Then the youngest was 11. I was there to celebrate. And the other 2 were boys, 14 and 15. And they were coming from school, and they were learning Spanish. And all what I had to do was, when they come from school, going to that little room that we have, and start speaking Spanish and I spent a wonderful year doing that. At the year, I went back home to Madrid to see my sister. Went to Menorca for a week to see all my friends. And then after it was 3 weeks altogether, I took off for London. Mm. And I went to, there was is still there, because yesterday I was talking to a girl in New York, and she told me she had been there. Some nuns. It's a convent. All what they do, they are Spanish. And all what they do is, you go to London, you don't have any job or anything, but you can stay in the residency. You pay a little bit, but nothing really. And they will find you some that you will be good for you, a match for it. So I was there maybe a week, and they got me to that wonderful family. They got 3 small boys, and she was my age almost, the mother. I mean, she was very young. We got together beautifully, and I felt like I was at home. Was a grandmother too, and it was wonderful. And I spent a year there, and at the year, crying because I didn't want to leave, but I knew I had to. I went back to Madrid.
Okay.
In Madrid, I first got, right away, I got a job in an hotel as a telephone operator, and what do you call it? I can speak those languages, so I was got connection there.
Sure.
Was a lot of people from England coming to that hotel. And I was in this hotel, very happy, lots of friends, even the owner and the manager were friends of me, and I got pictures of them. It was a friendly place to be, very happy. And one day I got out of the hotel to go to take the train, the bus, to go home, and there is that girl taking us. What are you doing here? We had been together in that nun's place in London. She was in London and we met there, and lost track. And she said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "What are you doing?" She was from southern Spain, so I thought, "What are you doing in Madrid?" I said, "I work." And I said, "Well, me too." And I just come from. And I said, "I work in this hotel." And where are you working? And she said, "I work at the American Air Force Base. And I have an excellent job." And I said, "Well, I'm happy too. I have a good job, and probably for life, because, I'm get." And she said, "Look how much you make." And I said, "Well, not much, and it's pretty good. I can pay,
Sure.
my." And she said, "I just got my check today." And she showed me her check. It was 3 times mine. No kidding. And I said, "Really?" I mean, and she said, "It's an opening. I show you that because it's an opening in my office, the office that I work. And you should come and get it." And I said, "Oh, I feel badly in that people and that and that." And she said, "Well, that."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, I'm going to go and have an interview," thinking,
What if? Yeah.
whatever. And I got hired.
No, excellent. And this was at
Torrejon Air Force Base in Madrid.
perfect. Well, as an Air Force baby, I was born on Moody Air Force
Are you
Base.
kidding?
Not at all. In Valdosta, Georgia, believe it or not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, bounced around quite a bit in Knob Noster, Missouri, as well as Pensacola, Seoul, Korea. So I understand. Yeah, I understand completely.
Yeah.
Well, so I would say that your background is really involved in heavy traveling,
Yeah.
and then Minorcan culture as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Because
Well,
you never
well,
can forget where you
I
come
was
from.
I was 25 when I left Minorca.
No, 25, and
Yeah.
that was when you had married your husband.
No.
Okay.
No. Then in the Air Force, my job, guess what? One evening comes that guy, and I have pictures in there of when he was young, and you can see. And I said, "That's a movie star. Tall, I'm so short," and I always got short guys going after me. Tall, blue eyes. And he comes straight into the office. And I said, "Yes, sir, what do you want?" And he put the hand on top of mine and said, "Who are you?" And I said, "Oh, I'm new here." I just that. And he said, "Who are you?" And he said, "Well, I work here a couple of nights a week sometimes to get me extra money to have some fun."
Sure.
Yeah. And I said, "Anyway, start." And it was 2 weeks. And he said, "You want me to take you back to Madrid?" That was why we ended stop and eat dinner somewhere. And I said, "Sure." I mean, who will say no?
Yeah.
And
Rest is history.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that's perfect because I wanted to continue our journey with art in general, and I really was curious. What are your biggest influences as an artist, and why?
Influence, I can tell you what is an influence because I really, it came from, like I say, I was a kid and I was making that. But when people start asking me, "Oh, can you do me that, a little painting of that, that." I used to was doing that with pencil things, and people will start asking me, "Could you do that, that flower or something or that?" And I will do it happily, and I start getting enthusiastic about it, and seeing everybody love it, and I see in the night probably they have that, and I said to my husband, that happened when I was already, when I really got involved, it was already in the States. But we were living in Denver, and people, neighbors, start telling me, "Oh, do you think you can paint the thing on my house? We just bought that, and my daughter will love to have it as a symbol."
Yeah.
And $20 and $20 and $20, and one Christmas I did about $300 with people from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
and I said to my husband, I said, "You know what I had to do? I had to get some. I know I can paint, but I like to have some sort of backing, something that shows it." So I couldn't go to school there because the kids were little, and one was still home. But it was a place what was that? In Denver. I don't know. We were in Denver. In what was that? Chicago. In Chicago was one of those schools by Mill.
Yeah. Art school by now.
And I was looking for that, and I saw that, and I enlisted to that, and I got the degree on two of the things, and I got something to show.
So it seems that your artwork comes from the heart more than anything.
That's it. That's
comes
it.
from the heart.
And I never try to copy any artist. Point. I never try to copy any artist. And like I say, all these paintings I paint with my memory. This is the place, and I remember that very well. And I went this last summer, I tell you, and I said, I did a pretty good job. It's a little, a little difference on the window up there. It's not, but that is the place. And I just look up. I have magazines. I have lots of books. Now, in my studio, you can see.
Sure.
I didn't show you, but I got a thing of books. I bought lots of books, and I did read books, and I look at books and what they suggest and what they don't suggest, and then I took those courses for correspondence, and that's it.
It seems to be, and I've seemed to make a connection between, I've had the honor of interviewing Barbara Acosta as well as Byron Capot, and it seems something in the connection is a lot of your artwork comes from the heart.
Yeah.
And you see it, you have a connection to it, and it just comes naturally.
Yeah.
Perfect. And you had mentioned prior to me before we came, I was able to talk to you before the interview, you had a couple of favorite artists. And what were those two?
Oh my God. I wrote it down yesterday to remember it.
Well, luckily I remember for you. I believe it was, you were a big fan of Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
Monet.
Monet.
Perfect.
Monet.
Yes. I'm a big fan of Monet as well. My mom, early on as a child, my mom drugged me around every art museum that she could possibly do, and I began to really enjoy art as a whole. Can't draw in the slightest,
right?
But I definitely have an appreciation for it. What?
I like the fact that they paint a lot of landscapes. And I just last night I saw a movie.
Okay.
Was Van Gogh? I don't remember the name. One of the two. And anyway, and I went through all his that, and it was 1 o'clock when I went to bed. That was worth it, just to see that.
Yeah. A late night with an artist's appreciation. I can definitely understand that. Well,
I have a print of Monet in my bedroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My mom's favorite artist is Monet, so that's amazing.
They are the two that I most like as far as.
And you like that because of the landscape?
Yeah, well, because I like the way they. And then I have one. This one is a staircase with a kid, but they are. I don't know what to say. They are real. They are things that they. I don't like paintings when they are not real. Okay, sure. Honestly, I don't like modern design, what they call it, and whatever, abstracts, all this stuff. They don't say a word to me. I want to see life. I want to see real life in a painting.
Yes.
Real things. When they are there, and you can see really in here and there. You know what I'm saying? That's my think about it. I don't like abstract or anything like that.
Well, I mean, and it leads me to my next question because, I was going to say, could you go into a little bit detail for our viewers about your overall style? Because I know your style, but I want our viewers to...
It's realistic.
realistic.
That is right. I want reality in the paintings. I don't want fantasy. You know what I'm saying?
Which makes sense, simply because your favorite artists are also mirroring the same style in which you paint in.
Yeah.
Now we had touched about your Minorcan culture early on in the interview, but I want to go a little bit further, and I want to talk about how your Minorcan culture has impacted your artwork.
I couldn't tell you that. So I don't.
Do you think that do you put it like this? Do you has your artwork as a whole, has any aspect of your Minorcan culture impacted your artwork as a whole?
Well, because I like to paint Minorca now that I'm not
Sure.
in Minorca. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? I remember Minorca, and I love Minorca, and I like to paint Minorca. That's what will impact in my art. I paint a lot of things that's supposed to be Minorca. Now, because I paint normally without looking at anything, or if I look at one of those books and I see something, you know, like a landscape or something, I say, what is that? And yeah, I mean, you know,
Okay.
Yeah,
because I know when we started talking earlier, you had you were very proud about your literature and different articles. So I'm assuming when something comes into mind, that passion that comes from your artwork or from your literature and your prior memories, and then it just becomes natural at that point. So the your Minorcan culture just speaks through. Okay, I understand completely. I understand completely, and that's amazing, because I was curious. We had talked a little bit prior too about your Minorcan cultural connection, and could you tell me a little bit maybe about your childhood and while you're at?
I wish I could show you my album. But
yes. I wish we could just hold it up for everyone to see, but yes.
Yeah. My childhood was sort of sad. My mom died when I was 10. Okay. And so that was a big shock and everything. Sure. I was too small to really that. The years before that were the years after the Civil War, and I remember being hungry because food was not available, and that may be why I love America so much. Because I remember that we was no bread, we did have a silver ring for our napkins at home. When one kid was born, his name was put there, and my mom did have one for everyone. And during that time, there was that napkin inside that silver thing with a little piece of bread like that, tied in that napkin and put in there for each one, and you were told, now that is the bread for all day. So that's the memories I have of my little childhood.
The rationing and the war and early issues with the childhood.
That was not very. And then when things were starting to get very good and very well, my mom died of childbirth, and was devastating. And I was just 10, and we were 5 kids. The oldest was 16, and the little one was 1 year old. And he's the only one alive now, him and I. Okay. We are 8 years apart. So it's like my childhood was, I don't have very good memories because of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
The trauma from your early,
yeah. But when I got to be 11 and 10 and 12 and that, I start having a ball. I have also in my album shows of that. Mm-hmm. We got good friends, was fabulous living in Minorca in the States. Okay. We were a very, very big group of, half of them are gone, but there's still some of them I saw. Boys and girls who were just friends. We were all just friends. None did marry any of them. I mean, we all married different people. But we were, every day we would go somewhere. We took our bicycles and went to Fornés, to the beach in summer. We got such a freedom because everybody knew everybody. All the families knew. So your parents will say, oh yeah, don't be careful, but they won't even ask you, where are you going? Oh, I'm going with so and so and so, and we are going to take a bicycle and see if we can get to Ferrovias, for instance, which is the next town, you know? And, well, be careful of the cars, and be careful, you know, stuff like that. But nobody ever worried. I remember coming home from student dances. We were the students, you know, who were normally a couple of times a year did dances for the students of Menorca, and they were in the big town in Mahon. And I remember coming at 2 o'clock in the morning from those things in a car with 3 or 4 girls and guys, you know. And my father left a chair behind the door, not to lock it, just a chair behind the door so he'll hear the noise when he falls when I got home. But never worried about what time I got home, because that is the kind of grown up that I got.
Sure.
Everybody, I was in every house of Mercadal.
A sense of community.
A sense of community. I have been once, many times, or not so many, but every town in Mercadal was at the time and got kids, you know?
Yes.
I have been inside.
No.
And in most of them I have been sleeping at night, to sleep together with a friend, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
So that is how I grew up in Menorca, in Mercadal, and it was wonderful.
So a sense of community, a level of safety within the community.
Within the community.
And then of course, I've never been to Menorca, however, the pictures are just beautiful.
Yeah. You know.
And they're reflected in the artwork currently in our Dunham map room, and which is fantastic. And I have one last question for you to finish up our interview, and I was curious, what's your lasting impact that you'd like to leave in the community, the art community, if you will? Something that you want to make sure that your peers, if they were to see your artwork, what would you want them to feel?
I haven't told you that, and I don't think you know, but I just left a gallery, and I have been years in it. The Pasta Gallery.
Okay.
I have been there since the year 2010. I got there, and I just left it this fall. This year, at the end of December, because I was happy, but I was involved with, visual artists there, so that I got that experience of being with an art community. It was great for many years. I left because I cannot drive, and we are what do you call it? We work it ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's I don't know the name anymore now. But anyway, we had to work it, and they did an exception because my husband was taking me to work.
Sure.
And he was grabbing a book every day, and he would sit with me and spend the day reading, and we will stop to eat dinner the day I work somewhere, and we come home. Well, he died. It's going to be 3 years next month, and I'm lost. I was lost. Now I'm starting to that. I had to take a taxi to go to work.
Sure.
And I was alone in there because a gallery is not like a store, Some days is very few people coming in.
Sure.
Some days you are very busy, but some days is nobody. And it was sort of, so I said, I don't know. As a matter of fact, something happened, and then I got a heart attack here at home. And they had gone in an ambulance, and my doctor, he knew when he was there. He said, "Are you alone in that place?" And I said, "Yeah, most of the time, but it's people, and it's a telephone." And he said, "What if you fall out like you fall out right here in the kitchen where I was far away from the telephone?" And but I got the thing.
Yeah.
Here, but that just works here.
Sure.
Home. So I couldn't take that. And I just had to push that, and an ambulance is in the door.
Sure.
So I feel secure at home. And he said, my cardiologist said, "You cannot do that. You cannot be in that place by yourself, with the danger that there is nobody in there, which is often, there is nobody in the gallery, you know, and that happened in that. So I had to give my goodbye. And
Sure.
I did at the end of the month.
Well, to me, I when I look at your artwork, I envision your happy places, like the places that bring you joy.
Yeah.
And so when I look at your artwork, I think that you are trying to share your own passions, your own sense of home to your viewers, and I think that to me is a beautiful aspect, because very few people are okay with opening up about opening up in their artwork or in their passions, and you do that from here.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I see when I see your artwork. I see places that you enjoy, people that you have had fond memories with, and then you want to share those with everyone.
Yeah, yeah, and that is basically what it is.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I'm not. I was thinking of going to another gallery. I contact one, and I know the owners, and it would be nice. They are full, and I thought when that show happened here, I said to myself, probably I'm better off not to get in a gallery. It's stressful. You sell a painting, you have to hurry to drink a new one. You don't drink a repeat, and you already got there. And, and at this stage of my life, I don't think I need that. You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
And my pleasure is painting them, and if I don't sell them, I don't sell them. You know, I'm not wealthy, but I can survive without them.
Getting paid at all with what you love is
anyone I sell is like helps me with the paints and stuff, which they are.
Sure.
I sold 200 that gallery, that show the other day.
Oh, at our Dunham map room exhibit, which wonderful.
Yeah. So.
Miss Johnson, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh.
Thank you for opening your home up to me. I know that you let a complete stranger in, but I hope you understand how much I enjoy, and that goes for all of the artists that I've had an opportunity to meet. They've all been incredibly receptive and passionate, and their artwork just speaks volumes to their culture. I think that overall passion is just absolutely seen in their artwork, and that goes from Byron to Miss Acosta to you as well. And I look forward to our next interview series. But Miss Johnson, thank you.
Nice meeting you. You are a great guy.
Thank you. And for all of our members, buy a painting. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that will be wonderful.
Yes, because I tell you right now, it'll open up.
You know, with some paintings that I'm not going to sell, you know, somebody has come in here and asked me, how much you want for that painting? I'm not selling that painting until I die. Kids can do it, but this is a memory for me, and this too.
Yeah.
And that is because I got so many compliments there that a person offered me a lot of money for it because it's a good painting.
It is a good painting.
And I said, no, I will want to enjoy that too.
You know, you got to be selfish every once in a while.
Once in a while.
Yeah. Well, to our members and anyone that's viewing, Ms. Johnson, it was a pleasure.